Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So I welcome all of you to this weekly Gita Paath session. So right now, currently we are studying Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. Last class we discussed on the section of Bhakti Yoga section till 2.46. Today we are beginning a new section, that is from verse number 2.47. So as I told you that in the second chapter, Arjuna, Krishna is telling all the content of Gita, he is telling in a summary form. So almost all the yoga he will be explaining in a summary format, in a summary way. So right now, 2.47, he is going to explain the Niskam Karma Yoga. How while doing the work, you are detached from the result. This concept is called Niskam Karma Yoga. And today we are going to study 2.47. And this sloka is one of the important sloka of Bhagavad Gita. You might have heard often, so many people used to quote this sloka. Karmani Vyadhikaraste. People used to tell all this. Ma Phalesu Kadachin. So let's try to recite this sloka and try to learn it. So almost today's class will be focused on this one sloka only because it is one of the very important sloka, and often people misunderstand this sloka. So I'll tell you now the principle, what Krishna is going to explain and how this sloka is applicable in our day-to-day life. It is very important and we should learn it and we can apply this in our day-to-day life. So Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, verse number 47. कर्मणि एवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भू मा ते संगोस्तु अकर्मणि. So this is the sloka. कर्मणि एवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भू माते संगोस्तु अकर्मणि. So Krishna is explaining here 4 things. Karmani evadhikaraste means you adhikar. Karmani eva adhikar. Adhikar means Krishna is telling to Arjuna, you have all the rights for doing that work. Krishna is telling to Arjuna, you have all the qualification for doing a job. You have all the qualification, the criteria for doing adhikar. You have that qualification for doing a karma. Okay, that is the first line, clear. Then he's telling, ma phaleshu kadachana. But ma means not, phaleshu result. But you don't have the right to the result of that work. Ma phaleshu kadachana. You don't have any right to the result of that work. Clear? You have the qualification to do the work, but you don't have the right to the result of the work. That is the second line. And the third line, what will happen if somebody will desire the result? Ma karma phala heturvu. If you will desire the result, then you will become the cause, hetu. Ma karma phala hetu. Hetu means what? Hetu means the cause. You are becoming the cause of that result because of your desire for that result. So if you don't desire the result, then you won't be the cause. Otherwise, otherwise it is going to implication on you because you are desiring the result. So don't become the cause of the result. Become the doer, become just an instrument and do the job. But don't become the the cause of that result. That is Krishna is telling the third line. Very important. Like here, like you are identifying that I am doing the work and I should get the result. The third line shows that. Means I am the doer, maker round, I should have this. So that become the cause of the result. So Krishna is telling, be detached, relax, be detached. Just do it and forget it. Whatever comes, accept it. And then the fourth line, Krishna is telling another extreme. Somebody may think that, why to do all these things here? Better don't do only, na. So that is another extreme. Mate sangastu akarmani. So don't abstain from not doing the work. Akarmani means not doing the work. So Krishna is telling, don't go to another extreme. It's like one thing is that you are doing and you are attached to the result, one extreme. Another extreme that you are not at all doing any work only, that is another extreme. So Krishna is saying, balance your life. Do the work and detached from the result. That is what the main thing Krishna is telling. So everybody has to do work. It's not that this is a thing for escaping from the work. Krishna is telling, Mate sangostu akarmani. And don't stop doing work. You have to do work. Akarmani means not doing work. Ma means not. So not akarmani. So you have to do work. But how to do work? You have to detach. In a detached way, you have to do work. So these are the four important things we learn in this sloka. So do your best and leave the rest. So the famous saying goes, na. So first line, if you'll see, Krishna is telling about concentration. You concentrate, focus on your job. Karmani evadhikaraste. Means whatever is your work, focus on your work. Be focused and do your work very nicely. That is called karmani evadhikaraste. And then Krishna is telling, the second line, ma phalestu, don't attach to the result of the work. That is the be detached. Do work with detachment. And then the third line is telling that that shift your attitude from doer to divine, means don't become the cause of your result. So there you should think that I am just an instrument of God. I am not doing actually, but I have been engaged for this work, so I am just doing this work. I am just an instrument. And then the fourth is don't go to the another extreme, that not doing the work, because work is necessary for purification of our heart. So I just got a slide very nicely. This slide was made on this one verse. So very nice slide, and so many practical lessons also you can learn from this slide. So the famous example comes regarding, so when you are focused on doing your work, means you are focused, one pointed focus, concentrated. So the example comes when Dronacharya was asking all the Pandavas and the Duryodhan what you are seeing. All some are saying that I am seeing a tree, some are saying that I am seeing a bird, I am seeing that, this. But when he was asking Arjuna, Arjuna tells that I am just seeing the eyes of that bird. Just see how focused he is. That is the art of doing the work. When you are doing your work, focused on the work, not on the result. Suppose I am doing what result I'll get this or that. So when your energy is going towards the result, means your efficiency is reducing. Correct? Because you are focusing on the, while working, you are focusing on the result. That means your energy is getting divided. Automatically, the efficiency will go down. So the formula what Krishna is telling, when you are working, give your 100% to your work. Means 100% efficiency should be on the work. Don't think about the result. Do your best. That means give your everything to the work. Be at the present, do your best, and whatever result is there in your, that will come. That is the Krishna is explaining here. And pay attention to the details, means while doing the paying attention to the details is a sign of love. There is a saying, famous saying, they say that if somebody is paying attention to the details, that means really he want that work to be done very nicely. That is a sign of love. And don't be a kind of a mechanical and live in the present. So these are the things you can learn from this. So it's like that, do your best. So generally, when you are doing your best, so there is no worry. People get sometimes anxiety and they think about so many things. Why? Because they have not given their best, and they do some work half-heartedly, and then they think that, "Arey, kya hoga abhi?" They feel anxiety, they feel trouble, they feel stress. Why? Because they have not given their full strength. So when somebody gives their full strength and he works very nicely, and he has already done his best now, so for what reason he will repent? Because he's already done his best. So whatever will come, they will accept it. So when people does things half-heartedly, they don't put their best effort, and then the result comes, they become anxiety, and they think that, "Arey, अच्छे से करते तो अच्छा होता ना." So that kind of thought comes in their mind. So the art of working, Krishna is explaining here is that whatever you do your best. Don't just mechanically do. Put your heart into it, be in the present and do the best. So it's just a very important lesson we can learn here in our day-to-day life, whatever work we are doing. So it should be done in this way. Your best need not be the best. Somebody may say that, "Arey, whatever best I will do, yeah, but so many best people are there. They are far ahead of me. How much I can compete with them?" Uh-huh. You no need to compete with other. You do your best. Don't compare yourself with other. There is a slightly understanding. Your best need not be the best. Means whatever doing, that is the best according to our capacity, our ability. And that need not be the best among the classroom or the state. Whatever best, that is okay. But I have given my best. And that's how we will get satisfaction. Recently, that article come na, so many students, they committed suicide. Around 40 students, they committed suicide, something. That article was, somebody was telling me, because of the exam pressure, the students are committing suicide. Let's see why. Because the same thing na, they are doing comparing themselves with the others. They are doing comparing themselves with the best. So Krishna is telling you, your best need not to be the best. You compare with your capacity. Suppose I scored some marks in today's exam. So the next examination, whenever I'll come, then I should prepare in such a way that if I got 60%, then the next exam I should get 65%. And that is a progress. No need to compare with a topper who is getting 80% or 90%. He has a different mind, he has a different intellectual, he has a different mindset. So we have to compare with our own ability, and the best out of us, that should come out. That is what Krishna is telling, that everyone is unique and we should focus on our own strength and we should improve ourselves with the day-to-day life. That is what this sloka is explaining. This is a very famous story regarding this sloka, very relevant. You might have know that in the Ramayana, when Ravan was taking Mother Sita, that time Jatayu attacked Ravana, and Jatayu was very old, and there is no way that Jatayu could defeat Ravana. And Mother Sita told Jatayu that, "You don't fight, you just go to Ram and explain to Ram that Ravana has taken me in this direction. That's it." But Jatayu did listen to Mother Sita. Jatayu fought. And just see what happened. Ravana cut Jatayu's wing, one after one, and then lastly Jatayu practically died. Jatayu fell on the ground. Because Jatayu saw that Sita as his mother, that how can a child see somebody is taking his own mother? Child can't just give information phone call to police station. The child will try his level best to protect his or her mother. That is the nature of a child. Jatayu also did that. From the perspective of Jatayu, Jatayu was correct. And from the perspective of Mother Sita, Sita was correct. Sita also did want that her child get troubled from the Ravana. So both were correct. But here apparently the principle of doing the best you can see. Jatayu, although such an old eagle, but he did his best. He didn't compare his strength with the Ravana's strength. Whatever strength he had, he did his best and he fought with Ravana. And just see what happened. Although practically from the material perspective, Jatayu lost his life, died, and he didn't get success in respective to protecting Mother Sita. Ravana took Mother Sita. But from the spiritual perspective, it will see Jatayu left his last breath in the lap of Lord Ram. Can you imagine? Lord Ram, who didn't did his father's last rite. Dasarath died in breath of Lord Ram, but Lord Ram, he did the final rite of Jatayu. Can you imagine? Jatayu left his last breath in the lap of Lord Ram, chanting Ram, seeing Lord Ram. What a fortune it is. Lord Ram's embrace, he left his body. So from the spiritual, and directly went to the spiritual world. It is mentioned in the Valmiki Ramayana. So from the material perspective, it looks like Jatayu got defeated from Ravana. He lost his life. But from the spiritual perspective, Jatayu won the game. He went to spiritual world. That is how we have to see always. So it's not a, it depend upon what perspective you are seeing, what direction you are seeing, that's depend on this work efficiency. So it's not that always you have to compare everything with the result, that what result has come. So what is it? So based on the result, always you cannot measure the success. Success is measured on the capacity, the ability of that person. Okay, now he's running, suppose this meter for this second. Okay, next race he's running, he's improving, he's going to the next level, and from the next level, and from the next level. So he's in the path of success. So you can't compare him with the topper. So everyone is unique, and that's how Krishna is telling that don't get attached to the result, do your best. Put your 100% effort, and whatever the result, I don't care about that result. I care about you. God cares about us, who we are, how we are made, and whatever we are doing. Lord loves that. So that's what Krishna is explaining here in this verse, that we should be best. And then you can see by doing our best, what actually happens. So the self-purification happens. Just like three things are very important. So proprietorship, controllership, and the enjoyership. These three are the main obstacle in any work. So if somebody does his duty with detachment, the first thing is that he gets out of the proprietorship. That he thinks that I am not the proprietor, I am not the owner, I am doing for an instrument in this, because he is not attached to the result. That means he is not the proprietor. If somebody is thinking that I am the proprietor, then only get attached to the result, right? So the first thing is that you get out of the proprietorship mentality, and the second is the controllership mentality. And this is one of the main thing why so many issues happen in the family life, in the friend circle, in the relationship, because one person wants to control another person. So when this mentality comes, there would be issue, there will be problem, either in the companies or either in the families, either in the friend circle, wherever it comes. So this controllership mentality is not accepted by Krishna. He's telling that you are not the controller. I am the controller. You are just an instrument. You do your job, and whatever there I will give you. So you don't think that you are controller. मैं ऐसा button दबाऊंगा तो ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. Doesn't happen like that. So that is also second thing. This mentality you have to take out. And the third mentality is enjoyership. I am doing so that I can enjoy. Always this enjoyership mentality makes a person full out of everything. So this mentality also we have to take it out. So when you take it out all this mentality, then the formula Prabhupada gives the solution. How can it be possible? So the formula Prabhupada gives is that the first thing is that it can be possible if somebody surrendered to God. Because if we are not the doer, then who is the doer? Second question comes. Are my company, my job, my office, my money, everything my, so I am the doer, right? I'm the enjoyer. I'll enjoy the result. No, everything is given by the God. God is the enjoyer. We are just the instrument. So this Saranagati, surrender to God, when this mood is there, then automatically people do the best what they can do, and they give up the worry of the result, because they understand that God is under control and God will give the result. He knows what is best for me and he will give that result. Simple thing. So in that way, he will be dependent on the God. Just like for exam, the student prepare very nicely for the exam, and he will give an exam, and whatever result will come, he will accept that it is given by the God in this way. So otherwise, if it will not depend upon the God, then exactly what happens? People get so much of worry. They become lot of anxiety that what will happen about the result. मैंने ऐसा लिखा ऐसा क्या क्या result होने वाला है. So lot of anxiety comes. Why? Because they think that they are the controller. But when a devotee, he does his best and he dependent upon the Lord. The Lord is the controller. Lord will give me the result. So there is no worry, no anxiety. Just like the Arjuna was sleeping very nicely. But that time the Vishnu, he has taken a vow that tomorrow I'll kill the 5 Pandavas. So then Krishna wakes up Arjuna that what you are thinking, why you are sleeping, you know what has happened? What happened? Vishnu has taken a vow that he will kill you all these 5 Pandavas tomorrow. And you are sleeping very nicely. Well, yeah, that is your trouble. You will take care of. I will do my best, and I am dependent on you. And that's how the devotee, they do their best, but they are totally dependent on the God. If Krishna will give me the best, then I'll accept. If Krishna will give me nothing, that also I'll accept. I'm happy. But I will do my duty very sincerely. This is what Krishna is explaining here in this verse. The famous saying comes, na, we show the seeds, God gives the rain. That we can put the seeds, but the tree will grow only when the God will give us the rain, right? If there is no rain, then where the plant will come out? The plant will not come out. So in our hand, we can put the seeds. That much is there in our hand. But then the God will decide whether it will fructify or not. And when the God will give the rain, then only the seed will come. Sometimes people go for the interview, they give the interview, but then the panel has to select us for the job, right? The panel will decide. It's not, I have given a good interview, I should be selected. You can't demand. The panel has the right to select or reject you. Similarly, we do our best, and then the result comes from the God. Same thing for the students. The student, they write the exams very nicely, but the result was given by the teacher gives the mark. The student can demand the marks from the teacher. They can just write the exam very nicely. So all these are like the practical examples you can see in our day-to-day life. The formula number 1 is the surrender to God. Already I just explained you. So when somebody surrenders to God, he does his work very nicely, but he depends on the result on the God. And the formula number 2 is that because he has surrendered to Lord, so he feels very blessed because he is dependent on the Lord. He's not dependent on himself. And that is what the smart work is meant. Just see, when a person does the work very smartly, that means that he does his work very nicely, but he is not dependent on the result. So this is a block diagram, explains the 4-line karmani vadikaraste. The first thing is that the person is doing his work very nicely. Work must be done, and he takes a full responsibility. It's like full responsibility with detachment. It's very tough, not so easy. Because when you are attached, then you take responsibility and you do the work very nicely. But suppose just see, you are doing what you are not getting the result. Can you imagine? You are doing something very hard, but you are not entitled to the result of that work. So little tricky, but that's what Krishna tells, that by this the heart get purified. So the karmani vadikaraste ma phalestu kadachin. Ma phale means don't get attached to the result. Be detached from the result. That is the second line. So take full responsibility of the work with detachment to the result. And then karmani vadikaraste ma phalestu kadachin. Then he's telling, don't ma karma phala hetu bhi. Don't become the cause of the result. That means what? Don't become proud that I am the doer. Mera ghar hai. मैं कर रहा हूं मैं so when you are become I conscious, that means what? You are getting proud. Become humble, become like an instrument of God and do the work. So don't become proud of yourself. And then the fourth Krishna is telling, Mate samgostu akarmani. Somebody get, are why to do work? There are so many, much. So let me not do any work, only sit at one place. Krishna said, don't do that. Don't become lazy. Lazy bump. Don't become a lazy bump and sit at one place. You have to do work, but do work with detachment. So these are two extremes. So one extreme is doing work with attachment, another extreme is not doing anything only. So Krishna is bringing both to a balanced pendulum and telling you have to do work, but with detachment. That is the crux of this world. So people generally tell na, "Are karm karo, kaam karo, phal ka aasa mat karo." So the main thing is that karma. What kind of karma? How to do the karma? That is the main thing here you have to learn. Generally, people tell, "Boss, do your work." But do your work with detachment. Whatever the result comes, you should be happy to accept that as a gift of Lord Krishna. That is the main thing Krishna is explaining in this verse 2.47, that art of doing our work. So very important sloka. I thought of sharing with all of you because this is one of the very important sloka in the second chapter and most often quoted sloka in so many Gita discussion also, art of doing work. So the main thing here, Krishna explained that everybody has to do work for their purification of the heart. But while doing the work, he has to be detached from the result. Little difficult, but this can be possible when a person is surrendered to God. That's what Prabhupada is telling in the purport. Somebody, the devotee, if he has to surrender to God, when somebody surrendered to God, then he thinks that I am just an instrument of God. I am not the doer. And whatever is happening, it is happening by the will of the God. And then it is become Niskam Karma Yoga. So that is the message of this sloka. Hare Krishna. Anybody have any questions or any comment or anything, please unmute and can ask.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
हरे
Krishna.
कृष्णा प्रभु जी तो लिखा तो सॉरी नेटवर्क थोड़ा लो है इस वजह से मैंने वीडियो ऑफ करके रखा है
Okay.
so प्रभु जी my question is that as you said कि we all should do the nishkam work, we should not expect anything out of that. So sometime what happens, sometime our responsibility make us think like that कि I am putting my this, so I should get this much of return, or I should do this kind of this much of hard work so that I can make out of that this much. I have to make this much, whatever, because of our responsibility. In that case, what should be done? You understand my question?
So see, one thing is that it's not that you do and you are not thinking anything about the result. That will be another foolishness. So while doing the thing,
Hmm.
should be little intelligent that okay, I'm doing this thing, the results will come. But we are not attached to the result. If the result is not coming, we should not get depressed and "Arey, kya ho gaya mera life," and frustrated and depressed and stop doing the work. That should not be the case.
Hmm.
But while doing the work, we should take all the precaution, all the measures so that the result will come very nicely. Correct. So,
Correct, Prabhuji.
and we do our best. That's what Krishna is telling. You do your best. When you are doing your best, that means what? You are taking the precaution, you are taking all the measures, you are taking all the conditions so that the result will be very best. But we are not attached to the result. After doing the best, if the result is best, it's very nice. If the result is not best, okay, it's okay. That's what Krishna is explaining here.
Okay, Prabhuji. Clear.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any other?
Prabhuji, I have one question. You have also mentioned that we have to love the job as well as we should get detached also from that. So this is something difficult, no? When we are loving the job, we get attached, immediately attached to it. How we can get the detachment? Otherwise, we have to be indifferent to the job. Then only we can get the detachment. That is what I feel.
Yeah, so detachment from the result, I'm telling. So not from the job, the work, the duty. So one may be attached to the duty. That is fine. But detached from the result, the fruit. That's what Krishna is telling. So take full responsibility with detachment. Generally, people take responsibility with attachment. They do and they think about the result. This is mine. मैंने किया है, मुझे मिलना चाहिए. So that's Krishna is telling that do your best, but whatever comes, that is a gift of God. We don't have any control on that. That's what Krishna is telling. Whatever comes, accept that. But don't compromise your work efficiency. Arey, if I'm not attached, I'm not bothering, so then why I'll put so much of hard work? Don't become lazy. That's what Krishna is saying. Put your best effort, and whatever comes, accept it. Got Prabhuji?
Yes. Yes. Thanks.
Little difficult, not so easy. But Krishna is telling, if you are connected with me and we are surrendering to Lord, then Lord gives the strength to do in this way. Otherwise, by default pattern is attachment leads to attachment. You are attached to the duty and attached to the result also. And that feels very good also. You are getting attached to the result. But that is not the ideal case. That will not purify our heart. Okay, anybody have any other questions or any comment? Priyanshu ji, Rohan ji, Sasi Prakash, Manjari Mata ji, Vishal
Yeah,
ji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So basically what you're saying is, like, suppose we are doing something with all our heart and enjoying doing it. And if you're doing something for somebody, and so basically we do it with all our heart and love and everything, but what we should not expect any appreciation. So we should be sthita pragna, right? Like, no, whether they appreciate it or not, we should be at the same emotional or whatever level. It's okay if they don't appreciate it, and it's good if they appreciate it. Isn't that's what it means, right? So you do everything with all your love and responsibility and all your heart and soul, but you don't wait for any you should not expect appreciation, which is in the human world a little difficult sometimes, because if you've really worked for, especially when you're making something for somebody and all, and they don't notice it at all, it is a little difficult. But yeah, but that's what we have to go on the path for, right?
So we can
And not bother whether somebody's appreciating it or not.
So that is how if you connect Krishna, then Krishna will definitely appreciate our work. Because we are thinking that we are not the doer, Krishna is the doer. So Krishna sees the work, Krishna doesn't see the result. There is a slight different thing. So if we are putting our 100% effort, then Krishna is already happy. So Krishna gives his mercy, seeing our effort, seeing our duty, seeing our work, not our result. Result is detail. Krishna doesn't see that. In the Ramayana, that Hanuman was taking a big boulder, and there was a small squirrel, and that squirrel was taking two small pebbles. Hanuman told, "Arey, side ho ja, I'm taking boulder." So Ram called Hanuman that I have given you the strength, and with that strength, you are taking a big boulder. And the small squirrel, I have also given some small strength. And with that strength, he is doing the best what he can do. So in my eye, you both are same. Although you are taking a big boulder and he's taking a small pebble, but both are same on my eye because both are doing their best. According to both capacity, both are putting their best. So in my eye, both are equal. So Hanuman become humble. So that's how God sees. So when we have this idea, that's what Krishna is telling, do your best, put your all energy in doing the work. Don't expect about the result.
I think it's easier to do for some actions. That is easier to leave it to God. Or sometimes for some In fact, for some small actions which you do for personal this thing for somebody, it becomes more difficult, because when you aim to, just like if you're doing something like you say for Krishna, then like you want Krishna to be happy, right? So if you're doing something maybe for your child or something, and if they are not happy about it and you put in a lot of effort, then it becomes more difficult. Then if you are doing your work and it's okay, like if I'm working in the hospital and you're really working hard and you're very this thing, you don't notice, because you start your day with your bhajan and you say ki, yeah, you give the result to whatever my work is. So that is easier to handle. Sometimes you do well, sometimes you don't do well. So that is easier to segregate in the form of it's okay if you don't receive appreciation and somebody is not happy with you. But when you're doing something on a personal level for something, it becomes a little more difficult, I think. So that is what you have to work on when you do it for, when you're doing something for near and dear ones. I think then it becomes more difficult if your small efforts, or if you're going out of your way to do something for somebody. And it's not like you want praises or anything, but it's like at least somebody will just notice also, it's fine. But sometimes that is more difficult, I think, to deal with than the bigger things.
That's how in our relationship, in our small family, there also, that's how we can involve Krishna also. The family also have to see that it's not my family, it's Krishna's family, and I have a role, that I have a mother role or a wife or husband or something. So I am taking this role to serve the family, and it is a gift of Krishna only. Krishna has given this daughter, husband, and I'm serving my duty, doing my best. In that way, also we can connect Krishna to our family. In this way, this is how the Bhakti Yoga is so practical, that everything, whatever we are doing, it can be Krishna conscious today. And that's how the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga is impractical. You cannot connect everything with a God. They have certain things that only have to be done. But Bhakti is not like that. Bhakti, every moment of your life, every breath of your life, that can be Bhakti Yoga. It's how you are seeing the perspective. Like that. Hare Krishna. Yes, Vishalji, any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, we have an example of Ambrish Prabhuji from Ford, and I'm sure many Prabhujis in ISKCON from a well-to-do background, can say, have become a great devotees, I can say. So, and also I have heard the phrase Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. So that very phrase is applicable only in the material world, or is it possible? Or we can say that we don't. It's not necessary, or it's not important that you go through hardship. You have to go through a hardship phase in life to become Krishna conscious. It's easy for a well-to-do person, uh, person who has born in a good family or a Brahmin family, and it's easy for him to become Krishna conscious, or it is that Krishna only accepts or Krishna only helps us to become a good devotee after letting us face a lot of challenges in life. Like which concept is correct?
It actually, there is no such called black and white. It is something that everybody has to go through that. So it's very personal actually. Bhakti means Krishna sees actually the devotee, whoever is serving Krishna, and Krishna always sees that what should come in his life so that he'll come one step close to me. It's very personal. Bhakti is very personal. Krishna is there in everyone's heart. And Krishna is, it's not that some company, something happened, one program you run and everything gets that output. Like Krishna doesn't function like that. Krishna can reciprocate with each and every living entity. He has that capacity. That is how he is God. 16,108 queens were there, and Krishna was spending time with all the queens. And all were thinking, we are so special. Krishna left all the queens and Krishna is with me. They were thinking. And that's how Krishna sees that each and every living entity, what should come in this living entity's life, trouble, difficulties, happiness, pleasure. Krishna gives that. And then by doing that, that devotee comes one step closer to Krishna. And sometimes Krishna says that, okay, if I'll give pleasure, then he will go away. And I should give some trouble to this person. And sometimes Krishna sanctions, okay, give some trouble. And then that after the trouble, the devotee become desperately come and take shelter of Krishna and started intensify his bhakti, chanting, everything. Oh, Krishna, then Krishna reduces the trouble. Now he's on the track. So Krishna is like a mother. Mother sometimes gives a bitter medicine to the child, sometimes sweet medicine to the child. Mother always wants the child to be always healthy. So whatever is needful, she does that. Similarly, Krishna also, just like our parent, once you start bhakti and once you surrender to Krishna, and then Krishna really takes care of us. The normal karmic reaction doesn't apply to devotees. The karma that doesn't apply because Krishna intervened. The devotees that come under the custody of Krishna. And then Krishna helps them to come closer to him like that.
So Prabhuji, that means that every activity, if even a materialistic person taking one's Lord's name is also performing that very karma as a karma.
See,
Can it be considered a karma? Yeah.
if you are a devotee, accepting Krishna as a God and practicing devotional service, that means you are not doing karma. You are doing akarma. There is no reaction to your activities. Okay. Because devotee means you are accepting Krishna and you are following the rules and regulation mentioned as per the Krishna is mentioning, following the four regulative principle, all these things, and practicing everything connecting to Krishna. That means there is no reaction to your work because you are devotee means whatever you are doing for the pleasure of Krishna. Somebody is a grahastha, is earning money so that he can manage the house very nicely. He can offer bhoga to Krishna. He can go to dham to see to do darshan of Krishna. So in that way, all his activities are centered around Krishna. So that is not a karma. That is a karma. But a karmic person, he will earn money. He will think that I'll earn money. I'll go to a Kullu Manali for a retreat. I'll enjoy there. I'll go there. So that the intention is different for an ordinary person. For devotees, the intention will be always how to give pleasure to Krishna. What should I do so that Krishna will be happy? Although the outwardly the work will be same, it looks like the same thing. Both are doing the same thing. But there is a hell and heaven difference in the consciousness of a devotee. Devotees also working so hard. They also work. But their consciousness that I'll earn some money and I'll give some donation to the temple. I'll help making a nice temple. Okay, I'll help in there. And I'll keep some money for the Dham Yatra. So just see, the consciousness is totally different. And the karmic person, see, I'll earn money, then I'll go to Taj Hotel and I'll do disco in the 31st December there. So his consciousness is enjoyment consciousness. I'll enjoy for myself. Me in the center. But devotee, Krishna is in the center. Like that, there is both are different.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody have any other questions or anything? Sasi Prakash ji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
No questions, Prabhuji, today.
No question?
No questions, Prabhuji.
How is your job going on?
Fine, Prabhuji. Going good. Good.
Good.
Yes,
Chanting?
Prabhuji. Chanting also going good, Prabhuji.
Good. Health is okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
So
Hare
this
Krishna, Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yes.
Prabhuji, I have seen few family, the parents like gender, the parents are living their life in a full of ignorance in a Maya, and their kids are also not aware about the Krishna consciousness or spirituality, how to detached from the Maya, and they are also living their life as an ignorance because of their upbringing, ignorance upbringing. So what, whose fault is that? Because kids are जो बड़े हो रहे, they are upbringing with full of ignorance, so they have no idea, no awareness, no aware, so their act become ignorance. So in that case, who is the, मतलब, whose fault is that?
So, so this can be understood in a two perspective. One thing is that according to the karma, the living entities are come together in a family. The kids, the parent, that is one perspective. But after coming to the family, it is the responsibility of the parents to give the proper samskar to the children. Because that is how the Grihastha ashram is meant for. That when a child comes to the family, so it's the duty of the parents to give the proper sanskar, especially the spiritual sanskar, so that when the child can practice it, and then the child can free himself or herself from the birth and death life cycle. Otherwise, if they are not giving that samskar, then what is the use of begetting the child? Because again, the child will go to another mother's womb, and the child will continue the birth and death life cycle. So the human life is meant for getting free from the cycle, and this is the main responsibility of Grihastha ashram. That is the difference between Brahmacharya ashram and Grihastha ashram. The main responsibility of Grihastha ashram is that training a soul from the childhood, so that at least the soul whom we are calling to our family, he can deliver. But for that, the parents has to know all these things, right? The parents only don't know all these things, then what they will train? So in the Bhagavatam, Rishabhdev is telling that if you, the qualification becoming a father or mother is that you should have the ability to train your children to become devotee, and they could free themselves from the birth and death life cycle. This is the first qualification for becoming parents, according to Bhagavatam Puran. Otherwise, even animals, they give lot of children. The piglets, they give so many pigs, 10, 15 dogs, so many. So our human beings also so many children, and they eat, drink, marry. Then what is the use of the life? They are simply wasting their human life. So the human life is meant for this practicing spirituality, and that is the first responsibility of the parents to give this to the children. And other things are detailed. Earning money, eating, roti, kapda, makan, automatically it will happens in the life. For that, but generally what happens, people focus more on that, and nobody thinks about this.
Yes, Prabhuji. That is only my question. If the parents don't know what is the spirituality, what is the devotion, what a sanskar should give, then kids are not aware because they are not getting it. Their mind become like a Mayavadi mind, ignorant mind. So then whose fault is that? Because kids are, because their act become like a Mayavadi act, ignorant act, what they should do.
That's what you have to preach, right? You have to educate them, tell all these things. Now you know this knowledge, you can educate them like that.
But aren't we given, I mean, aren't the souls born according to their level, like you were saying, in different families, depending on what they need to learn in that lifetime? I mean, most of us in our human lifetime, I don't think one lifetime is enough for us to attain nirvana, right? So, so maybe that soul is, we are born in a place where we are ready to receive that kind of blessings and teachings from our parents also. So, I mean, if we are born in a particular family, maybe because we don't have exposure to the spiritual principles like Tulika Mataji was saying. So I wouldn't say it's somebody's fault. It is maybe that soul is not ready for that yet. And there are so many things which as parents we don't do correctly, but we can't even spend the rest of our life blaming our parents for it. Once we become aware and mature and have our own potential to choose what we need to do, we have to ultimately take our own responsibility also. I mean, there is two paths which most of us follow. Like there are some people who will blame their parents for the rest of their life till they become old. ki, oh, if my father and mother would have done this, I wouldn't have been like this. But after we are mature in age and mentally and physically or whatever, the exposure you want to receive becomes our responsibility then, I think, rather than blaming our parents for it. We can choose what we want to do, whether your parents have done it or not. Once we have the ability to think for ourselves and choose the correct paths and decide how we want to live our life. So I think it's
When
rather
the
than blaming the parents, we can.
when the children they grown up, when they become bigger, they won't listen to the parents. There is no point in educating them also. But at least when the child is small, especially from the age of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, this is the Komaram Acharya Prajna, Prahlad Maharaj tells that. This is the time to give the samskar. So that time if the parents give the samskar, then the child learns that. And that becomes the foundational structure for his future life. Based on that, he takes the decision in the world. That is the main time for the parents to invest on the children. And once the children, as you're telling, once the children become older and start earning 15, 16, 17, they don't listen only. Whatever you do, they have their own friend circle, they think different perspective. But the thought pattern, the thinking pattern, the psychophysical nature, everything is based on the samskara, what the parents is giving from the child. That is very nice. That is the duty I'm telling for the parents.
No,
And
definitely. But there are cases where, in spite of not having that background in the family, the person, maybe because it's their calling or maybe their soul is that much developed, that you develop your own interest. It is, of course, easier if you already have that background in the house and it happens automatically then you just go with the flow. But there are cases where, very less nowadays, but because it's becoming worse and worse every year. But there used to be, cases where somebody who's not coming from that kind of a background also can develop interest and completely study by themselves. And because what I was not, of course it's very easy, it's much easier if you have that kind of a background, because then it happens like a normal way of life only for you.
So that is how in the scripture it is written, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Kaya, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi. The moment of association of saintly people can ignite that, because everyone's is a soul, and that innate nature of Krishna consciousness is there in everyone's heart. So by chance, if a living entity come in contact with a pure soul, and with that contact, that innate nature get ignited. So immediately that living entity start practicing bhakti. That is called accidentally Shraddha. That is what the mercy of sadhu. So that doesn't need any qualification. That person may come from any background, but when he meet with a saintly person, the saintly person's mercy can impact that mercy of Lord Krishna in that heart. And immediately he jumps up like that.
Which is happening with me, Prabhuji. I came with all of you. Now my bhakti is just happening automatically. I don't have to put any efforts. With all of your association is happening, becoming easy.
You are so
Thank you so
sincere, and
much.
you are so sincere and hankering about devotee association. That's why Radha Vrindavan Vihari called you to GV Govardhan Village.
Yeah, he made you to resource to took me here. All credit goes to you, Prabhuji. Koti धन्यवाद आपको. And thank you, grateful.
Guru and Gaurang, all the credit goes to the Guru, mutual master. He has created everything. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
anything else? Satrupa Mataji, you want to say anything?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, थैंक यू प्रभु जी। ये संस्कार देना आपने बोला है, लेकिन वो जो कैसे दे सकते हैं? मतलब मैं अभी मेरा बेटी को मतलब जो स्पिरिचुअलिटी में इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जो उसको स्कूल में है ज्यादा पढ़ाई है, इसके लिए मोर फोकस इन उसका स्कूल का स्टडी रिलेटेड थिंग में है। तो मेरा जो संस्कार दे रहा है उसमें कम टाइम लगते हैं इन्वेस्टमेंट। सो मैं वो कैसे मैनेज कर सकते हैं? वो मतलब मुझे डाउट हो रहा है, मैं अच्छा दे रहे हैं कि अच्छे से इसको संस्कार दे रहे हैं ऐसे।
Basically, Mataji, देखिए, so one thing is that sanskar means what? Sanskar means just be with your children. Give your time with your children, and you are a devotee, right? And you are practicing Krishna consciousness. So when you are there with the child automatically learns all the qualities from you. ऐसा नहीं
Okay.
कि आपको बैठना है और you have to give a class to the child. So don't do like that. He will get bored. अरे उधर सुना 8 घंटा again one more class from here. So don't do like that. Just be with your child as a friend and talk with him. And that how the child sees the parents, and the child learns everything from the parent. And if you're practicing very nicely bhakti, automatically whatever the discussion, it will be centered around Krishna, right?
Okay.
That's
हाँ.
that's how the samskar automatically the child first learns from the mother. That's how the child learns everything. The child will observe you, how you are cooking, what you are doing in the house, what you are singing. Everything the child learns from the parents.
Okay.
Suppose you are devotee, that's how the child is getting the psychophysical samskar from the parents by observing the parents. The child learns more by observing rather than hearing. You know one thing?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Giving a half an hour lecture to the child. So, but the child will see what you are doing, how you are acting, how you are talking. By that, the child learns more than your 1 hour lecture.
Okay.
So it's like you can't fake. It's what you are practicing really in your life, that only get imbibed by the child. So
Okay.
the more main thing is that you become very nicely a nice devotee. Automatically, your child will become devotee.
Okay.
Okay.
ओके सो प्रभु जी उसके लिए मतलब थोड़ा कीर्तन वो सब सिखाने की जरूरत है क्या मतलब अभी वो 5 years का है
Yeah, it should be like a leisure for them. Leisure means it should be a fun kind of things. Don't become
ओके
very tough on the child. Just some kind of relaxation, some kirtan. You can sit with the kirtan, and they should love to do that. I mean,
ओके
if kirtan karenge, it's like a punishment. Sit for an half an hour and start kirtan. Not like that. They should enjoy it. Children should enjoy it, and that way you have to think that how should I give Krishna to them so that they will like Krishna. The main thing is that they should love Krishna.
ओके
That feeling should be there in the heart. And whatever you will do, that is the detail that you can see according to your child, according to his psychophysical nature. What I will do so that his love for the Krishna will increase. That is the and other things are detailed. You getting? I
ओके
heard in one school, the teacher was a devotee, and when the student that they do some mistake, and then the teacher used to give punishment that chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra. Imagine. So then the children, when they become grown up, they stop chanting only because so much of psychological trauma they got in their mind that means some wrong punishment means chanting Hare Krishna. You getting? So
ओके
they connect chanting with the wrong thing. Punishment. If you do something bad thing, then I have to chant Hare Krishna. So they were hating to chant Hare Krishna. So that is like another extreme of immaturity of teachers.
ओके ओके
So they're children, they don't know anything. Just you have to make them. That's how their psychological nature grows up. They become that is the time of their growing. So we have to make something kind of thing so that they love Krishna. They should
ओके
enjoy.
ओके थैंक यू प्रभु जी
Hare Krishna. Anybody else want to say something? Rohan Sahaji, you want to say something? Rohan Sahaji, Priyanshu Sakpal. And what happened to our Prabhuji? Not asking any questions. Are you there, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, I have a lot of questions, but not going to ask them today, some other day. Only one question for response to Vishal Prabhuji. Ki soul has no boundaries. I am Dubey, you are Hiranand Chandani. Next time I may be in your family, you may be in my family. And we could be born in Pakistan or Europe or Africa or America. Soul has no boundaries and no gender. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. That's all.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Samir ji, Hare Krishna. Yes, please.
How are you, Prabhuji?
I'm good.
All good.
Achha, whose name is Rohan?
My son's name is Rohan, so I'm using his phone today.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Everything is good?
All good, Prabhuji.
Ready for the